Welcome to Maroon Sports Talk, your go-to podcast for all things sports at EKU. Join us each week as we dive into the latest games and explore the world of sports. Whether you bleed maroon or just love college sports, this podcast is your ticket to staying informed. I'm Kaitlyn Andrews.
I'm Speer.
I'm Joey Aguirre.
And welcome to the podcast.
Kind of took a break there for like a week. What'd you guys do over spring break?
I went to Florida with my friends, and it was very nice.
What'd you do, Joey?
I got to go back home, so that was nice and see my family.
There you go. Yeah, that's always nice. I stayed in Richmond, sadly, but it's all right. It's all right. It's not that bad. I got internship hours, and it gave me a lot, so it's not that bad. Helping take down all the cameras and monitors and SDIs and fiber, all the fun stuff. Sorry for any listeners that don't know what that is. But it wasn't that bad. So.
In alumni.
In
right?
alumni, yeah. Speaking of alumni, they're completely gutting it. So
completely. There's a giant fence cage around it. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
I was trying to get to baseball field, and I literally had to walk all
I was
the way
driving
around.
by, and they were putting the fence up. Luckily, they let me through. But I think it's just around the walkway actually, so it's not. You can't go in there anymore. It's completely shut down.
It's crazy.
But as the renderings last year, they had new video boards, multiple actually, and so new court, RIP the Colonel in the middle of the court. But they needed. There's a lot of scratches and stuff on that court. Chair bags, new concessions, the whole 9 yards, and they're spending a lot of money on it. So I don't know the exact number. So I'm not going to sit here and speculate about that. Oh, really?
$30 million.
$30 million. Woo! Where are they getting that money from? Wow.
Yeah, I actually don't. It doesn't say in this, but yeah, plans that it's going to reopen next January for the ASUN basketball season and 2025 graduation ceremony. So it's going to be closed.
Yes. So I get to graduate May 25.
I
and
don't
that
get to graduate.
So you don't get to have that. So
No.
Oh well. It's crazy. So. But good for them, and kind of moving into AC and basketball. Leland Walker and Tayshawn Comer have hit the transfer portal and got confirmed, I think, right before for you.
They got confirmed literally 20 minutes before I
20
got
minutes
this
before
podcast,
this podcast hit. So, what is kind of the deal you think in that regard?
Yeah, I think, I was kind of just looking it's all over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. I was first heard about it from some friends that were like, have you heard? And I was like, no, which is embarrassing because I'm a sports editor and I should probably know that. But
I'm your co-editor, so I didn't know either.
It's I had no idea. But it was just kind of, they're both sophomores. They have 2 more years of eligibility. And, I bet they're just kind of trying to see what they can do with that. I think there's been some speculation that A-Dub may be leaving. There's, we have a bunch of graduating seniors. The team is definitely, no matter what happens, going to look really different next year, regardless of, if they transfer, if not.
They're both coming off just amazing seasons, so if they want to transfer, the time's now.
The time is now.
The time is now. And so, the lasting impact they've had on the program can't be underestimated. Even A-Dub said, with Kozart, his name should be on the wall, which I agree. And maybe even a case for Leland. He's been here 2 years, and he was, just all ASUN, first or second team, second in scoring on the team, amazing assist, amazing jump layup ability and dunking and tough shot making. Same goes for Comer. Anytime there needed to be tough shots being made, it had to have been him. So, just amazing careers here at EKU. And if they do decide to stay, because in your email it said for now. So I don't know what that means.
They said yes. The email said that they were in the portal for now.
If they do decide to stay, great. You can continue being leaders on the team, but go get that money through. If it's NIL, personal matters, I'm not going to sit here and speculate about that.
Yeah.
But just amazing careers here at EKU, and it was so much fun to watch those two go to work.
Yeah, and you never know what's going to happen, but they were just 2 players that made immediate impacts when they came. Even when they were freshmen, had really successful careers here, and whether they decide to stay or go, they will continue to have success. But they would definitely benefit the program here a lot too, and have those solidified, spots on the team and stuff. So there's a comfortability. I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah.
Comfortability of staying here or trying a new place. So that's kind of probably what they're deciding right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the impact. Like, I keep being a dead horse, but I mean, it's just I can't underestimate the impact. I mean, I definitely can see either one of them playing on a NBA court someday, and I really do.
Very impressive.
They're awesome. So, kind of moving into that, I mentioned NIL, and you played college soccer, and so. You've been actually in the transfer portal yourself. What's that kind of like?
Okay, the transfer portal was a little underwhelming, I'll be honest.
Really?
You basically just reach out to your staff, I think, your compliance staff, and you say, I want to go in the transfer portal. And they go, okay.
Okay.
And then the next day you start getting a bunch of emails. So I've never seen it. I don't know what it looks like. But yeah, then all of a sudden you start getting a bunch of emails. So, but yeah, I think the transfer portal is a good opportunity for a lot of athletes. I think that it's kind of controversial. Obviously, I used it to not for money making purposes, but just for a change of environment. And I think that it does benefit a lot of athletes, and it's a tool that they have and that they can use. It's a resource. So
And you mentioned controversial, and I don't think it's on the players or the coaches for how chaotic it is. Good that it took too long for it to happen.
Yeah.
I remember playing NCAA Football 14 on my PS3, and they weren't actually the names of the players, and so. And any jerseys or they couldn't make any money off of it, or brand deals and so it also, I think it's an incentive too to stay in school.
That's a good point.
You
That
can
is a good point.
you can stay in school as long as you go somewhere. I mean, there's classes offered.
And you're making money too to help pay for your school.
Yeah, because you can't go work at the esports lounge as if you're a student athlete, because you got practices to go to, unless you're on the esports team, and so you can't be a tour guide. You got to go to practice, because they had to make money somehow. And so there was either a scholarship or a stipend, and you hear all these controversial things and investigations by the NCAA, oh, he's getting paid, and now it's out there. So I think it's great, and it really is just on the NCAA to regulate it more. The portal opens and closes. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what happens. And
I think it opened Monday,
and
it closes in May.
Yeah.
I believe May 1st.
And so there's no regulations, there's no rules, you can do whatever, and so it hurts mid-major schools because they don't have these collectives, and then it can be a whole podcast about what an NIL collective is.
Just make a whole podcast.
There's a whole, the ESPN article I read the other day, it was NIL and recruiting, the ongoing confusion over collectives. Some schools don't have collectives, some do. And it took me kind of a whole day to even be able to talk about this, because I still don't half understand it, and I don't think the players do either. And Nick Saban was just on Capitol Hill saying, "Hey, you guys need to step in here." That hurts college sports, because you don't want the government, quote unquote, and getting in your business. So it's just really confusing.
It is. It's very complicated, and I think when you're an athlete, you're kind of just I'm in the portal now. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, other than that you're going to start being contacted by schools. And I think a lot of people use it too to just see their options. It doesn't hurt to see where you could possibly go, how good you are and what the best school you could go to is. A lot of people just want to even see. So I think, it's hard when you're a mid-level D1 school to keep those players that want to see can I go to a UK, can I go to a Tennessee, can I go to these higher level.
Yeah, and I remember when we went we won more than 20 games. We had the most wins in the state of Kentucky during 2020 for basketball, and the player by the name of Wendell Green, he graduated, but the next year, he was just a star here, like Leland Walker, I think the same position even. He went to Auburn and started and had NIL money, and he graduated, and now I think he plays in the G League or overseas somewhere. So go do what you need to do, and so
it's about your career too. So it's
what am I supposed to do? And so he averaged 16 points, and Tayshawn Comer was just a tough shot maker ability, and he averaged around 8 or 9. So go do what you need to do. And so kind of moving on to like the women's team,
Yeah.
speaking of basketball, kind of keeping that same conversation, are in the WNIT, which is a prestigious tournament.
Nice.
They play Purdue Fort Wayne tonight at 7, and so I think they have a good shot at winning. The winner plays your former school, UC, so you can kind of talk about that here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really cool opportunity to continue your season. Like, I think a lot of the time when you're done in conference, like, that's it. And you don't really get an opportunity to continue playing, especially if you're a senior or fifth year. Like, that could be it, period.
Mm-hmm.
So I think being able to play in, like, a postseason tournament like this is a really cool opportunity just in general, regardless of how far you make it. But I think they have a really good shot of, like, going pretty far. Like, I think anything can happen when you get into these postseason things. Like, it's the end of the season. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be really interesting. The women's team hasn't been in the WNIT since 2002, which is when I was born.
That's when I was born, too. That was the year I was born. So
it's been a while. It's been 22 years.
I got to speak to Greg Todd last night on the Zoom call with, like, a press conference, like LAX18 and a couple other people, and I asked him I was like, hey, you're like 19-4, which is a great record.
Crazy.
When you score 69 points or more. And I really appreciated his honesty too. He was like, we do kind of struggle sometimes on the offensive side of the ball, but our defense is unreal. And with Purdue Fort Wayne's strength is like the 3-ball scoring. And so I really think it's a good matchup for them to try and go play a top tier, like Power 5, Power 6 school in Cincinnati. So, and hopefully have a shot to win. So I really think this is a great opportunity for them. And then Antoinette Walker said, like, we're here to kick butt. She's actually had postseason experience.
Nice.
Alice played in Italy and at a high level. And Ivy Turner was also on the call, and she was like, I told her, like, you have a great 3, like, shooting ball, like, ability. And she was like, I'm just going to keep on shooting the 3-ball, so I really think they have a good shot here to win tonight. So
I think it's awesome, and it's a really good way to kind of continue to get your name out there as players and as a team, and like just get people to know about EKU and like really get your name out there. So I think it's cool. You're, with a lot of other, 48 teams are also in this WNIT. So I think being next to these other teams like Cincinnati and other teams that, you get an opportunity to play against some really cool opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually can see Antoinette or Ivy or Alice or any one of them playing at the WNBA level. So EKU has some great athletes for basketball these past few years. And then speaking of big stages, Joey, so you mentioned that there's a esports like World Cup happening, and then we'll kind of circle back around to EKU sports after this, but I really want to hear about this.
Yeah, this sounds cool.
I want to hear.
Speaking of
big stages, tell me about this Esports World Cup here.
So this was announced last year in 2023, and it will be 8 weeks in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It's going to be the largest gaming festival. And
like ever? Okay.
To my knowledge,
in
this
history.
is
Oh my
going
gosh.
to be the largest gaming festival.
So are you going? Like
I will not be attending.
Oh,
I will probably be
God.
working over summer, and will not have the money to.
You should start a GoFundMe or something.
Yeah,
Man. Like, you gotta go. You gotta
Don't
go.
fund me.
You gotta
Look into
go.
the camera and ask people for money.
Yeah, please do. Like, it's really cool though. Like, this is really this is awesome. So keep talking about it.
So it'll be club focused. So clubs from around the world will go there and compete in different games. So they can have their different teams per game compete in their specialty.
Wow.
And the clubs who have the most points total throughout all their games win the whole thing. And apparently the prize is going to be life-changing.
I was going to say, what do you get if you win?
They don't have much information on it yet still.
Wow.
This is
most
suspicious.
of it is all, like, it says stay tuned on their website.
Okay.
Like, there's not much information from that, what I could find.
That's interesting.
So
now I want to know.
I heard about it over spring break, and I started looking into it, and it's, like, eerily amazing how
So it's like
big it's going
you
to
said
be.
clubs, like is that schools or like kind of like these big gaming corporations like
Are they
FaZe
independent?
or something?
Are they like independent of a university or?
I have no idea. It just says clubs, so I'm assuming that schools may be I'm not entirely sure, but it'd be really interesting to see school teams go out and like compete against those big teams like FaZe, Cloud9, Liquid, like seeing college teams and players compete against them. It would also give those professional teams a way to recruit people. If you think about it, like that's a really cool concept that they could make use of.
It's kind of like a showcase, like for sports, it's like a showcase.
It'd be like you're like a college or a club like beats like these high levels like Liquid or FaZe, and then after the match is like, come play for us.
But like, they can probably get offers from every team if they beat one of those higher levels.
Yeah, that would be insane.
That's cool.
It would be.
Yeah, and so kind of moving on from that. That's awesome. Kind of softball and baseball. You were at the game last night.
Me? Yes, I was.
For baseball. How'd that go?
Well, they lost again. I think that they had like 3 pitchers in 2 innings. I think that they're still trying to get that footing that they're looking for their conference. And, I think it's hard to watch, when teams lose, especially when you're rooting so hard for them. But I think they're just trying to find that person that's going to stick, especially for their pitchers.
Yeah.
Because I think they rotated through like 5 or 6 of them, and there was like 3 and 2 innings. So, I mean, it's just like, again, kind of what I said last podcast. Like, they're young. They're still trying to get their footing.
Transition year.
They're playing some, like, hard teams.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, they played Tennessee, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
They play Dayton tomorrow, who beat Vanderbilt, who most recently is like 6th in the country.
Yeah.
So it's a rough non-conference. And then even the conference, I mean, Kennesaw State just beat UK 2 out of 3 times the past week or two.
Oh my goodness.
And so I'm pretty sure we play them here pretty soon. But they did beat Central Arkansas 2 out of 3 at their field. So it does seem they're on the up and up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be a big test against Dayton because they have had a slide recently. Dayton they lost 2 out of 3. Okay. But they did again beat Vanderbilt, so you never know what they're going to get out of them. So I see you're on your North Alabama series, and then NKU. So it's
NKU. Guess what? The post game, they're showing the Barbie movie.
Oh man,
I'm gonna talk about the Barbie movie in every podcast. Anyways, that was off topic.
Let's start controversy.
Their conference games will be North Alabama next, and then NKU, and then Stetson.
Moorhead again,
and then North Florida.
So we don't play Kennesaw for a while, and so transition year. There are some seniors that hopefully they have a COVID year or something, so they can try and rebound because this team they got 35 wins 2 or 3 years ago, so I know they can do it. So 4-17 is a rough start, but hey, like I said last podcast, the basketball team started 4-9 and got the first place seed. So I mean, conference for mid-major, it seems like conference is everything. Even for like schools like UK and UVille, conference is everything for that seed in the tournament to try and make the baseball big dance. In regionals, so we'll see kind of here in the next few weeks. But for softball, it is the complete opposite.
Softball is killing it. Love to see it. This is softball, yes. They are 20-4 overall, which is just such a good record to start off with. Really solid.
Historic. Having a no-hitter, I mean, just unreal.
Their freshmen just continue to dominate, too. Like, they just have such a solid team right now. So they're just, like, really fun to watch and to see succeed, too. Like, they just beat Central Arkansas in their 3-game series, won all 3 games, and then they're going to face off against Kennesaw at home this weekend.
And then AKU, just like the baseball team. Something they need to market these games more. I know they're streamed on ESPN Plus, but maybe hang some banners or hang some posters and have a white out or a maroon out or.
Yeah, I think they have things every game like baseball does.
Yeah, I know they have like promotions every game, like a free crew neck or kids run the bases and a bunch of stuff like that. So
I think NKU, it looks like they have a crew neck giveaway. And then
speaking of crew neck giveaway,
Kennesaw, they have a kids' day on Sunday, and then they have a snack bowl giveaway on Saturday. I don't know what a snack bowl is.
That sounds
really cool. I
that
kind of
does
want to go.
I mean, free food.
Yeah, but I think
Joey's
that
there, guys.
he's
Joey is there.
But I think that, yeah, when you're competing with, baseball and getting that attention and everything that's happening with basketball and the women's team.
It's just
and
so much
basketball
sports
is still
content to talk
continuing.
about.
So much is going on right now that, yeah, it's sometimes, there may not be a ton of people knowing how softball is going if they're not, specifically following softball, but they're having a great season right now. I want everyone to know that's watching the podcast. Softball's having a great season.
20-4.
20
Please
and
go
4
out and
is
support.
crazy.
It is near the IM Fields, behind those parent, near the parent apartments or whatever those are over there.
Yeah.
So, man, it's a wild time for EKU sports and kind of moving forward for that. More content. EKU football has their pro day. It's tomorrow. We'll be there.
We'll be there.
Kind of tell our viewers and listeners kind of what is a pro day.
It's basically just when pro scouts come out to the field to watch players. I think it's people that are going to be graduating this year because they had a junior pro day.
So it's graduating this May or next May?
I think this May.
This May?
I believe. This May or in December probably. But they had a junior pro day where their juniors kind of got to be seen by, I think, 2 NFL teams
the Falcons
came out.
and the Eagles.
Yeah. And so now they have their pro day.
And so more scouts will probably show up.
Yeah, so we'll kind of get more information after we go see it tomorrow.
We'll talk about it next week and kind of what happened.
But I think that it's a good opportunity, especially like we've talked about being at like a more of a mid-level,
mid-major,
yeah. Like I think that, you get to be recruited by these pro teams. Like that's a great opportunity. So hopefully our players show out tomorrow and do a good job. So good luck to all of them.
Good luck.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, and kind of you want to talk about tennis, or you talking about that before? So how's that going? The end of last week we were talking about they just kept the foot on the gas and
men's tennis has just been killing it. They're 17-4 overall still. So they had a winning streak of 12 games, which was broken by the loss to Louisville, but they're back on the winning streak. They have 3 wins after that, so they did not let that loss affect them at all. They're just going to keep on going, but they're in their conference games now, it looks like. They beat Austin Peay, they beat Bellarmine, and then on Sunday they're going to play Queens at home, so that'll be really cool. And we're trying to stream those games now, I believe. Streaming is down right now, but we're trying to stream those games.
Yeah, we'll be one of the 3 or 4 schools, I'm thinking, in our region that'll stream the games, but I mean, they need to stream those games because it'd be super important to kind of showcase on a national audience or regional audience like how good our tennis team is, and so hopefully that'll bring in maybe some more money. We were just talking about NIL. I don't know if NIL is in the men's tennis space, but if it is, that'll definitely need to be talked about. So
yeah, I think if they keep being successful, only good things are going to come
Why
from
not?
them. So, I think if you win, you're going to get cool stuff. You're going to get to be streamed. You're going to get to, have cool opportunities. So
absolutely.
I think if they keep it up, it's going to be great. So it's super exciting. But, very successful start
Very
for them.
successful. And, Joey, what is it like on the Esports Western front? Is it just...
Can you show your jersey, please?
No.
This is really cool.
You need to show the back of the
jersey. And then show the back.
Add him on
his gamer tag.
Yeah, his gamer tag.
That's awesome.
Get that up there.
If you can't see it, you should go watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. What is your game? What does it say on the back, Joey? If you can't see it, what's it say on the back?
So it has my old gamer tag, Jumper Gamer 122. It is currently just Jumper Gamer.
There you go.
Oh,
there you go. So what's it like? How's it been, esports? I know after spring break, but what's it been like the past week or two, and any news or anything?
So I believe the ECAC, the conference that esports is in, their playoffs start in a week or two. Our Rainbow Six team is 5-3, so they dropped down, but they did have to forfeit a game over spring break just because not all their players could play. Not all of them were here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And also the Rainbow Six team has Cincinnati LAN coming up in April 13th to 14th. LAN is local area network, so sort of like what they had at UK beginning of this year, where they went there and they played at their
Interesting.
stadium. The prize pool there is $1,600.
Wow.
So
Dollars?
yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. 16.
No, it's actually Fortnite coins.
Just double checking.
But,
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's a good chunk of money that
Yeah.
they have. If they're recognized as one of the better teams in the state too. So
That's
they
awesome.
definitely. I think they have a chance at winning that and
Wow. That'd be
potentially
so
getting
cool.
a good chunk of money of that.
That's so cool.
It would be. Well, our Fortnite duos team not doing too hot. They're 0-6. Then our fighting games are 4-3. Our Rocket League Maroon team, so our A team is 0-6, but our white team, our B team, is 5-2. Then our Street Fighter team is 5-3, and then both of our Valorant teams are 0-7, sadly. So that neither of them will be making the playoffs
Gotcha.
for Valorant.
Who would be making the playoffs?
Well, only reason I know about Valorant is because my sweet mate is on the Valorant team, and he told me that they aren't making it. But R6, I'm assuming, is going to make it. Street Fighters might make it. Our Rocket League B team should make it. Fighting Games might make it.
Okay.
So Fortnite duos, Rocket League Maroon, and then both of our Valorant teams are the ones I'm suspecting aren't going to make the playoffs.
It still sounds like a good amount
It
would
is.
make it.
It's
yeah.
about half of the teams that
Yeah.
are going to be playing in the playoffs for
Gotcha.
the conference.
Do you guys
So
like live stream these on YouTube or
So,
Twitch or Kick?
EKU streams all the games, most if not all the games on Twitch at EKU_esports, I believe is what the handle is, and they post the games as videos too afterwards, so you can go through, catch up if you're behind, and
That's so cool.
see how the team
Free
plays in competition settings.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
So good for them. And kind of circling back, I pulled up here on softball.
Okay.
They're won 5-2, 6-1, 9-0, 2-1, 10-0, and 15-0. Pitching is just unreal. Like, as a former athlete, how do you just keep that mindset forward? Like, how do you not just let it distract you, knowing that you're just absolutely on a tear?
I think that, you kind of get into rhythms here and there. Like, I believe it's called like a flow, like is the technical
Flow.
term. Yeah, it's like getting in your flow. So I think that, you go through highs and lows when you're playing. Obviously, there are some days where you're like, oh my gosh, I just can't seem to do anything right. But obviously, we're having a time where it's like things are going really, 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 really well. And just sticking with that and just not letting small mistakes get to your head, I think is going to be a really big thing. Like, as an athlete, you are going to make some mistakes, and it's bound to happen at some point. But I think not letting that ruin your flow, ruin your rhythm, will be super important. Especially, I think our pitcher is a freshman, or the main pitcher at least. When you're a little younger, like you want to make sure you maintain that mindset. And I think from the softball players I've talked to, they all seem to have a really mature mindset when approaching their sport. So I think that's going to be super important to maintain as they continue to go throughout the season, because as I've said this before, you go through season, you get tired, people are getting injured, it's been a long season. Like, just maintaining that relationship with your teammates and positive mentality is going to be super important.
And I have the statistics here. Maddie Rutan.
Yes, that's her name, yes.
ERA of 1.06. And she is 11-2.
She's crazy.
Her whip is .91. She's had 15 appearances, and it's just crazy, and it's wild. And then Lauren has an ERA of 2.29, a whip of 1.42, a 1.0 win-loss record, 12 appearances. Let's see here. Victoria has an ERA of 4.7, a whip of 1.93, and Tim, I'm so sorry if I butchered that. Viginski of 3.63 ERA, a whip of 1.53, a win-loss of 4-1, and 12 appearances. I mean, that pitching, that's like...
It's a solid group of people.
That's a solid group of pitchers you got there. And so, I mean, I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
I mean, but batting, the softballs are just flying off the bats. We have two players
He's
with
got all the stats
We
pulled
got
up right now.
2 averages of 400. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 300 and above.
Wow.
Which is like professional level. I mean, they're playing at just
solid.
a professional high level. And then even players with 297, 250, and 241, which is just also
Still
a little
yeah.
average or a little like, I mean, it's just crazy. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, they got to keep up that intensity and go to the games if you're listening. I mean, this team is historic and they deserve to be watched. So
I agree.
yeah, and so it looks like we got some time here. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
So this actually relates to esports. But,
Okay, back to esports.
Back to esports. Jumping back, like it's a good rhythm to have. Yeah.
But so one thing that I do in my free time is speedrunning. I speedrun Call of Duty Zombie Easter eggs. Now,
Wow.
a debate going on is whether or not speedrunning is an esport, because you can't you can set up 2 monitors like side by side and compete, but it's like hard to time everything and it'll be different based on who's playing, like strategies and all that. So I mean, if you guys know anything about speedrunning, what do you think about it?
like this is
Is it like, what's that? There's a mobile app. It's like Subway Surfer. I know that was like really huge.
Okay, I know Subway Surfer. I can do that, yeah.
It's try to do as fast as you can. And then I also know it's super popular in like Mario and Sonic, right?
Yes.
Okay, I know those.
I've watched people try and speed run, and it's really fun. And I really think it could be entertaining if like to watch it and just watch people like lose it when they get like right there by the flag in Mario and they like die.
I was surprised to find out this wasn't already a part of esports. I
Yeah.
felt like that. I don't know. I thought that was already a part
Yeah,
of it.
no.
So that's really interesting.
To my
me.
knowledge,
Yeah.
speedrunning is not considered
Interesting.
Really?
an actual
What do you think as the esports
Yeah, you tell
expert
us
on the
what you
show?
think.
What is it like?
I think it should be. I mean, it could be a great way for individuals to like come out of their areas of comfort and meet others who speedrun, learn their strategies, and just build upon each other's knowledge. Like, there's a lot more strategy that goes into speedrunning than I think people give credit to.
I've
Like,
tried it once or twice.
Subway
and,
Surfers, yeah, he's tried
no,
it.
not even that. Like, called me out there. Like Mario and Sonic, I remember playing it at a buddy's house last year, and I was abysmal at it. And so you can't just jump in and think you're going to be successful,
No.
because you can normally do it like Mario and like have fun with it, but the second you try and like beat a high score or a time, it gets even more complicated and you lose focus, and then you end up throwing your controller at the wall. So, yeah, I think it should be an esport. I think it'd be kind of fun to watch.
It'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And then another topic, you're building something, or you're like, I got flamed before the podcast started, and I said, you have a video game you're building, and then you're like, no. So like, help me out here.
So, okay. I
Oh
found, so game concept is, have you played Until Dawn or seen anyone
Yes.
play Until Dawn?
Yes.
So a story-based game that is narrative-driven, where your choices as the player impact the story. So
I'm looking
I
at it.
found a website that can literally, you build the storylines, the
Sounds so
parallels, and everything for it. So right now I'm building a test version to learn all the ins and outs of it, and then I'm going to make the actual outline for my game, and then see if I can have someone produce it and make it into an
That
actual
would be
game.
so cool.
That'd be awesome.
Oh
I
my
just think it'd be
gosh.
funny and
Yeah.
like cool to have as like.
What is the storyline of your hypothetical game? Do you have it yet?
I
Is
do,
it really complicated?
I do
or-
have
okay.
a very.
Is it like Dune, where like you gotta like really know the lore to like getting? Kaitlyn called the first movie boring before.
I've never seen it. I can't.
Oh, there
I
you
just-
You said you heard the
I've
you
heard
you
it's
heard the
boring.
first one's boring. The second one's amazing. We can talk about that in a minute.
What are you talking about, dude?
Go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to say anything about it because there's just like Until Dawn, there's going to be twists in it, and I don't want to give away.
Oh,
It's
mysterious.
secretive.
Before
Concepts.
Kaitlyn graduates in May, are you going to be able to have the
You
story?
have to tell us the story.
Please. Like the last before someone takes your spot next year, which, oh man, you got to be able to talk about it. So
I will be able to talk about the
He's being so
basics of
secretive.
it, but I'm gonna try not to give away like the twist or anything.
Good. Don't
There-
give away
No.
the twist.
I will say this though.
Oh.
I'm aiming for 7 different characters that you'll be switching throughout the
Ooh.
entire
This sounds
different
complicated.
story.
is your major's homeland security,
Yes.
right? Why don't you have a computer science minor? Like,
It-
do you, or are you
No.
you're so good that like, I don't need that.
I mean, I just have a passion for games,
Mhm.
and this concept popped in my head, and I felt like, I may not be able to actually make the game, but if I can just create a basic thing and give it to someone who can
Do it,
produce it.
and then you make a lot of money off of it.
It's cool to know the software too, because then you can kind of work your way
Yeah.
around it. Like at least practice with it a
Yes.
little
I've
bit.
always been fascinated by like that kind of like technology.
Oh,
So,
yeah, it's been like, especially seeing how far games have come since like
oh, it's crazy.
years ago.
I tried VR during spring break at a buddy's house, and I couldn't even like pick up the weapon. And so all that kind of stuff. When people have that knowledge, is just good for them.
Yeah.
Like,
It can only help you.
Like,
so.
yeah.
Especially with how realistic some of the games have
Mm.
gotten, and like,
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at Mario, like how pixelated it is,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then you look at, I'm trying to think of the newer one, Mario World, or,
Mhm.
Super Mario Odyssey. That's what it is.
yeah, there you
Odyssey.
go. Odyssey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's like a 3D game now. It's amazing to
Interesting.
see how it's changed since its creation.
Oh yeah, it's
and
crazy. And then you can look at
evolved.
COD. I mean, COD Cold War, and
Yeah.
then you look at the most recent COD. Like, it's just unreal, like the graphics and stuff. So-
Except there's also a few issues with that, but
That's fine.
I won't get into that.
Yeah. Now we have a few minutes here. Issues, right? We talked about issues. Dune. So.
Guys.
Dune.
Talk
So
about Dune
like.
on the sports
It's-
podcast.
I don't know. We were just having so much fun with it before we
were.
started recording.
Talked about Dune for
Maybe it's a
far too
topic we
long.
can bring in after every week towards the end. Talk about something funny or
Okay.
something. So
Bring in
I don't
Dune
know.
expert.
Me,
Yeah, you're a Dune expert. You're a
It's
Dune
me.
expert.
I'm the Dune expert. I've never seen a movie, but I'll tell you everything about it. No, but yeah, I don't know. You were passionate about Dune, so go ahead and talk about it.
We have no experience in this.
No, we've never seen the movies.
Yeah.
You had some strong opinions though. Okay.
I do, yeah.
Like
It's
what
weird.
about it's weird. So
I don't know. Okay, I feel like I can't talk about it on the podcast. I don't wanna, it's
the worms,
controversial.
the worms.
Because
Yeah.
what if people are waiting to see the movies and like
No
you know, you
spoilers.
spoil
I mean,
it.
I just love the technological aspect because the arena scene with Austin Butler, like Bald Elvis, as they call it, like it's awesome, and it's just using that kind of camera work. It's awesome, and every shot looks like a painting almost.
Yeah.
So go see Dune Part 2 if you haven't. If you don't like Dune,
Watch Dune Part 1 first.
Yes.
If you're like me
Yeah,
and
watch the
Joey,
first one.
watch the first one and then and then maybe watch the second
maybe watch the
I
second
heard
one.
it's supposed to be really boring, but if you push through it, the second one's supposed to be substantially better. I
Like
heard.
you made a point too. Like watch it with people that have seen Dune 1,
Yes,
and they can explain
yes.
the lore. I mean, I'm reading the book right now, and it's so in depth, and it's like whoa.
I
And
think
so-
the three of us need to have a viewing session of Dune.
Oh my gosh.
So
Please,
so he can point everything out to
Yeah,
us.
I'll geek out while Kaitlyn's just like.
Yeah.
If you can't see us and you're watching on Spotify or something, I made a kind of face. So it's great.
Like the one I just made.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, but we can talk about Dune next week. We can talk about it more. But
But you need to watch both movies, and that's like 4 hours.
okay,
Do you,
I'll binge.
do you
I'll
have
binge
4
watch-
hours?
I don't know.
I do not. I have-
Joey does not have 4
I
hours.
have too many papers due this week.
I'll binge watch Dune. We'll come back and I'll know everything.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about
there
it.
you go. So
Perfect.
I think that's it for
think so.
this week. Kind of got crazy there at the end, but mid-air. So we're new to this. So, but yeah, check in with us next week,
Mm-hmm.
and we should talk about Pro Day. See if the baseball season has turned around. See if the softball team has kept up the foot on the gas, and maybe hopefully some more news on A-Dub, Leland, and Comer, and then maybe anybody else that will hit the transfer portal or if we get transfers here. So, yeah, check in next week, and thank you so much.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys.